the progress we've made over the last few years at the Santo Tomás project. We're going to progress through the story of Santo Tomás, actually in a slightly longer format than others have used. Discoveries have given us the opportunity to make two presentations, one this afternoon and another tomorrow. And the thought is that we'll walk through the corporate history. I've been at the last 4 discoveries, and sort of you've accompanied us through the history, and we'll start with some the general thank yous that and appreciation for all the help we've had through time. Over the next 2 days, I'll sort of recapitulate the corporate progress. Andrew, in the second half of today's talk, will walk you through the new mineral resource estimate we've received. But then tomorrow afternoon, Miguel and Fidel will walk you through the geology, which is beginning to crystallize for us. We haven't really presented that before. And for the geologists at the conference, I strongly recommend you come and attend that presentation. Santo Tomás has been known for a long time and always been thought of as a low, medium grade, fairly small tonnage occurrence. It occurs related to the Laramide intrusives and extrusives, but in a very, very significant expression of that. And it occurs at low elevation in the Choix area, close to mining-friendly population, people who've worked at El Sasal, etc. We're on major infrastructure, natural gas, rail, highways, water infrastructure, and at low elevation. The entire project is below 1,200 meters, differentiating it from a great many of the porphyry coppers that are awaiting development globally. The concessions are in 2 groups. The core concessions, where the majority of the ore body is located in here, but also a sizable area, the so-called peripheral concessions. Those have different ownership structures. But together, Oroco will control essentially 85 to 90% of the project once we complete expenditures and prepare for development. The project area itself is focused into 3 prospects: the north zone, strangely in the center, Brasiles in the far north, and the south zone. We have very, very few or very little in the way of settlement, a few farmhouses, etc. in the immediate project area, a small village here at Cieneguita. But all the rest of the population is located outside of the immediate project area. We're starting to make some progress on a PEA, so we're starting to see the early design layouts, etc., for a potential mine. And in particular, we're beginning to define the opportunities for tailings. The area, though steep, is ideal for development, and in particular, we've got natural tailings facilities in the valleys. Choix is the major center close by. Again, people who have experience with mining post El Sasal. Santo Tomás, the property and the concessions up here. The Baharachi porphyry copper a little further up the road, and about 9K north of the project border, and an historical resource at Baharachi. There are other mineralized systems in the area, including former mines. So at La Reforma, a former mine operated by Peñoles. At Jubia del Oro, there's a gold mine, gold-silver mine. And more recently, a small iron ore operation that belongs to our partner and has been operated just in the last few years. Historically, we've done several pre-drill surveys, starting with some airborne and a major LiDAR survey, and then coming in on the ground with a 3D DCIP survey. That was a 22 square kilometer effort. Steep country, but has become our principal targeting tool. So between historical drill results and the IP, we generated all the targeting strategies for the project. We flew airborne mag. We've modeled that up, inverted it in various ways, and that has particularly helped us define some of the structures. We've done quite a lot of work on the mag to try and help us understand what's happening structurally, and to a general degree it accords with what we're seeing mapping and in drilling, although there is more complexity coming out of the drilling. While we had the helicopter mag going, we did radiometrics. Here is the DCIP, so we got chargeability, resistivity. Obviously, chargeability was our primary targeting tool, and we discovered that our grades came in the intermediate chargeabilities. The high chargeability saw a little more in the way of iron mineralization and pyrite. As things progressed, we began to realize that actually the resistivity and alteration patterns were highly linked. And that gave us the opportunity to pair our magnetics and our IP with resistivity, lay that on top of the magnetics, use the downhole surveys that we were doing geophysically, and really begin to hone in on our targeting, particularly at North Zone. To give you a sense of the size of the survey, that's Lower Manhattan. Here's our South Zone. These are two slices through the IP, and as you can see here, some of the drilling and an historical grade shell that overlays not on the highest chargeability, but on the intermediate chargeability. So very, very powerful targeting tool for us. Obviously, we started seeing the correlation between drill hole grades and resistivity, so we started using the resistivity more keenly. Noticed very significant resistivity extent across the project into the South Zone, and so we really used that as a targeting tool for the South Zone drilling, which had less historical drilling in it, just these original historical holes. And when we zoomed in, we realized that we had some really quite nice correlation between the grades, those hot colors, and the resistivity. So the team became quite well attuned to that. We used the DCIP as well to help us orient our drilling, so used the trends of chargeability to aim our drill holes. It worked exceptionally well in the North Zone. In the South Zone, we rotated the drilling to be somewhat north of east, but the work that you'll see that Fidel and the team have done on site has shown that at South Zone, in fact, the structural the veining, the mineralization, etc., is very similar to North Zone. So we'll probably be reorienting drilling as we continue work in the South Zone. So it isn't infallible, but it has been a strong guide. We've also used downhole tools, so optical and acoustic televiewers. We'll be overlaying that data in more detail with time over our structural work. We oriented most of the drill core, and that's given us the basis of information that Fidel will share with you tomorrow. We've put in quite a lot of infrastructure. One of the great benefits for us in this project has been a community benefit. Our partner on the ground, the Treviso family, own property in the area. They will be a partner in the project, an equity partner in the project, and they had certain very, very useful assets on the ground in Choice, so we've developed our core processing facility at their property at Ranchito. We've built 2 camps. This camp at Brasilia is good for 28 people, was actually built by a small company that Doug Coleman put together. Having met Doug at Discoveries, he gave us a hand and built this for us with one of his teams, and our domestic partners built the South Camp. So we have great infrastructure. We've invested significantly in things like core storage, pulp storage, coarse reject storage, and build those libraries to be appropriate. But of course, you can have all the infrastructure in the world. If you don't have good people, you don't have a good project, and we're unbelievably fortunate because we have a fantastic team of people, and a good number of them are here with us this week. Please take the opportunity to go to the core shack and talk to them and get to understand the things they did for us. They have to explain a lot of what they've done to me, so it's very useful to have that team. We started in COVID. It was very difficult to move people in to help us get going. We started with a young core team, and they've done an absolutely amazing job. The project, zooming in some, in red, the new drilling that we've effected. In green, the green diamonds are historical drilling. You can perhaps make out some of the drill traces. The historic drilling was dominantly vertical drill holes, drilled not always through mineralization. We've drilled inclined holes from hanging wall through footwall across the system. And this will just give you a sense of the meterage of the historical drilling, 21 kilometers historically, and we've put in almost 50 kilometers of inclined drilling across the ore bodies. Zooming in on North Zone, what we're showing here is drill traces with grade composites of copper. So the hot colors, the hot pinks are greater than 0.5% copper, the reds are the 0.4 to 0.5, etc. So you can see a very, very coherent set of composite results that just show how nicely the ore body at Santo Tomás is coherent and I think over time readily understood. Our drilling at South Zone is a little sparser. We have work to do there yet, but we're beginning to realize that the southwest corner of South Zone, we haven't had adequate coverage at yet, and we're seeing some of our more compelling results there. Brasiles was an undrilled prospect north of the river in Chihuahua. So that is essentially exploration. Our first few drill holes did not encounter significant grade here at B1 and B2. But once we came west and started drilling into the buried chargeability, we started to get a coherent ore body. The drill density now at North Zone is quite good. These are just the straight up 2 meter assay values, hot colors being the 0.5 plus copper. Cool colors down to the 0.1 cutoff that we have used for compositing. The cutoff for the mineral resource that Andrew will show you is a 0.15. But along with those hot colors, we get a very nice coherence with the geology. So the intrusive monzonites into an andesite background is what really is the feature at North Zone. At South Zone, again, the assay values, but when we look at the stratigraphy, yes, we get the intrusives, but we're also seeing a number of breccias, so hydrothermal, structural, etc. breccias that appear to carry mineralization. And the guys will give you a lot more on that tomorrow. In the world of disclosure, we've used Verify as a tool, so most of our results, detailed results, are available online for those who would care to look at that. And this view from north to south of North Zone and South Zone is just to give you a sense of the relief. And the significant thing about this low altitude, really quite compelling and coherent set of ore bodies is the fact that they're going to feature very low strip ratios in mining due to the fact that we sit on the ridge. There's a history, the historic drill holes we talked about. I'm not going to go into any depth, but it's a long history, and we've done a lot of work to try and rescue old core, etc., relog it, and prepare it for further work. This is just since my first attendance at Discoveries in 2020, so I've just started at that date. This is the corporate share price and the history of some of the things we've done through that period. And really the takeaway is that we were extremely fortunate. We hit a hot market despite COVID. We've been able to finance essentially almost 60 million Canadian dollars on very, very strong pricing. Obviously, on a go-forward basis, we're in a new sort of normal for share price. We're not alone in that, of course. But I think we've been unbelievably fortunate to have timed the startup despite the challenges of COVID in the manner that we did. There was an historical resource, and just to sort of get your eye in to help you with what Andrew will present, that historical resource was 800 plus million tons at a 0.32 copper. So I'll hand over to Andrew.
You in? Yeah, okay, great. Bueno, apenas tengo como 3 meses en este proyecto. Tengo 20 años afuera de México, acabo de regresarme. Mi español es un poco, como se dice, oxidado, horrible, pero ustedes van a aguantarlo porque yo tengo que hacerlo en español, ni modo. La compañía que está haciendo en modelación para nosotros es SRAK de Denver y Osenco desde Tucson. SRAK está haciendo estimación de recurso mineral. Básicamente está dividido en 2 partes, el parte norte y el parte sur. Y ellos lo hicieron esto porque fue obviamente que hay 2 controles diferentes estructuralmente hablando entre las 2 partes, entonces tuve que modelarlos en dos turnos, 2 partes. Lo usaron todos los terrenos nuevos, obviamente, de Oroco, pero estaba usando también los históricos. Hay suficiente evidencia que el control de calidad, etcétera, etcétera, estaba bien, pero más que nada nos dan un poco de confianza en las zonas donde están los terrenos viejos, que, por ejemplo, aquí hay un terreno allá que sí tiene mineral, sí tiene cobre. Entonces, aunque no son estrictamente calificados como de alta calidad en cuestiones de QA/QC, están muy útiles porque están diciendo que aquí hay mineralización y si estamos cortando aquí está ayudándonos en el diseño de block model. Los geólogos de Oroco están haciendo un trabajo buenísimo, súper detallado. Es un terreno, topográficamente hablando, increíblemente difícil, pero entre usando los drones para mapear y identificar áreas de interés, por ejemplo aquí, en la zona sur, pueden ver por el drone que hay óxidos de cobre en la superficie y luego gente como Fidel y Miguel se van hasta abajo y hasta arriba para buscarlos y muestrearlos y salieron con un mapa que está mucho mejor desde como 2 o 3 años. Pero para hacer el modelo de bloqueo tuvimos que simplificarlo mucho y terminamos como 6 tipos de rocas. Y es un poco más fácil que esto. Los manzanitas están intruding los andesitas y casi toda la mineralización de importancia está en esta zona. Hay unas zonas de scan, como te voy a enseñar más rato. Esto fue un problema en la metalurgia, pero no es tanto problema porque son básicamente separados del cuerpo principal de cobre. Este es un ejemplo de los cross sections que están utilizando, hecho por mano, pero desarrollado en Leapfrog, obviamente. Y aquí puedes ver el modelo de Leapfrog sobrepuesto el modelo que hicieron los geólogos de Oroco. Entonces fue una combinación de Oroco y SRK para desarrollar este modelo, sección por sección por sección, 64 secciones. Está bien, es muy padre el trabajo. También tenemos óxidos de cobre, bien desarrollado en la parte norte, pero no está incluido en la estimación de recursos, principalmente porque no tenemos datos sobre cómo funcionan los óxidos en la excavación. Entonces, los quitaron y fácilmente le hicieron básicamente una cobija de óxidos en la superficie, Por cierto, hay van a ser sulfuros en esta zona, pero estamos descontándolos ahorita. Entonces, un poco conservativo. Me gusta este slide, que son muchos números, pero hicimos unos pruebas de metodología preliminarios. Por ejemplo, aquí mandaron como 10 muestras, tal vez 12, pero salían con un composite de maestro de 0.33 de cobre, que está bajo ley. Lo interesante es que, puedes ver de aquí, estamos recuperando 82.6% de cobre. No es tan mal por un baja ley así. Aquí son las curvas de recuperación. Puedes ver que está mejorando con incrementando el feed grade, pero lo interesante para mí, entre todo, es cómo están divididos el cobre entre los minerales, especies de cobre. Casi todos son arriba del 99% de calcoperita, y esto es importante para nosotros. Para hacer el tajo económico, SRKE y OSENCO usaron estos parámetros. Recuperación, puedes verlo aquí, 84.3, poco bajo, pero interesante, te voy a enseñar por qué. Indicated inferred, esto es la cosa más importante entre todo. Como puedes ver, y no es una gran sorpresa, con más alta ley, menos toneladas, te puedes llegar a un head grade feed de 39% y más chiquito, arriba de 0.5. Pero entonces la curva que nos vimos obviamente está mejorando. Entonces toda la estimación fue basada en 82.6 o 7, lo que fue este número. Entonces, otra vez, un poco conservativo. Y lo bueno es que estamos investigando y empezando a hacer una investigación sobre las tecnologías nuevas sobre la excavación de sulfuros, principalmente calcoperita. Entonces, el número de calcoperita que te enseñé, que es 99% de los minerales de cobre, está buenísimo para nosotros, para esta tecnología, porque el reagent que están usando para esto solo se ataca el calcoperita y ningún otro mineral de cobre. Óxidos también, porque usan ácido en la excavación, pero el químico o reactant solo está atacando el calcoperita. Y esto es que van a salir en como 2 semanas por un reporte de NI 43-101. 600,000 toneladas inferred, casi 490 en indicado. El punto de aquí, y como todos sabemos, no deberemos juntar esos dos números, es completamente ilegal, pero yo lo puedo ver que es más de 8 billones de toneladas juntados. El recurso histórico fue de 5.8 billones de toneladas. Entonces, en resumen, en summary, este programa en los últimos 2 años han juntado added aproximadamente 3 billones de libras de cobre el recurso en Santo Tomás. Y estas son las notas que se van con otro table. Todo es normal, equivalent copper calculation, como casi todos los otros reportes. Otra vez la recuperación de cobre, bajo, 84.3. Y importante también es la exclusión de óxido de material oxidado en el proyecto. Estos son números hechos por un banco en Canadá para nosotros. Y ya puedes ver dónde se quedó Santo Tomás entre los otros depósitos y proyectos no desarrollados o ya están desarrollándolos, pero no están minándolos. más de 1 billón de toneladas. 0.3, este es equivalente de cobre, calculado con este número. Y recoso, 8.5 billones de dólares de cobre equivalente. Es algo significativo. It's very significant. It's going to be a big deposit. Happy to take any questions. No questions. Thank you.